She loves it.
My mom's over there like, at least our last names are different now, as you embarrass the family. So.
My mom thinks it's hilarious.
All right. So welcome back to the regular dad. We are continuing on with Jimmy, whatever it is that you want to talk about. So
That's
jump
right.
in
This is
at
on
any
me.
time.
So look this up.
Okay, so you're not prepared either.
I'm
You kind
good.
of showed up like I did.
I'm good.
You're coming in hot with no fuel.
What is that,
broken
Hunter?
windshield.
Yeah, I need to get that Hunter S. Thompson quote memorized. Yeah,
And so,
such a great quote.
well, fire when ready there.
Yeah. So, I had a.
What is your shirt?
This is the Gamers Nexus, like fail tour shirt. So every year they put out a shirt of the components, PC components that are like horrible. And so on the back it's like a rock. It's like a tour. Yeah. So and it's like a limited edition.
That's
Very
funny.
very nerdy.
That is
very nerdy. Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
as Shia LaBeouf said, that's the epitome. Well, he said the epitome of strength, but
Did he really? Did he mean? Did he not know that he was?
I don't know because he's an actor, so he can play that off. He's like, I was just,
I will
doing that
say,
for
like,
whatever. But
so in
epitome.
that vein,
God
this
bless.
is not
That was funny, though.
anything to do with what I was going to talk about, but in that vein, my son, he reads
Yeah.
like voraciously,
Yes, I know.
and so he encounters words.
I picked him up from school. He was reading before we were out of the parking lot.
He encounters words he's never heard before, and so he doesn't. I mean, like I did at his age to some degree. You don't go to the dictionary and learn how to pronounce the word. So he encounters the word, reading, it enters his vocabulary, and then it comes out of his vocabulary, and I'll be
Yes.
like, "What did you just say?"
Yeah. Dieter minded.
And he'll repeat it, and I'll be like, "Son, that's not how you pronounce that word."
Yeah.
Poor buddy. Anyways.
Well, it is English, and that's a very
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
so.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about that to start just sort of the idea to continue with, we've been talking about books. There's a book by Skye Jethani. Have you heard of Skye Jethani?
Sky, S-K-Y?
S-K-Y-E, Jethani, J-E-T-H-A-N-I.
No.
He's a pastor,
but
he wrote a book
have
called With.
okay.
And it's
I'm gonna look this dude up.
He's part of this new generation of like super well-read, John Mark Comer, John
Right.
Tice, those guys. Like,
Does he have big biceps and use a handheld
I
microphone?
don't know. I've actually never seen a picture of him. I've just
Well, today's your day.
But he wrote this book, and it kind of talks about the different ways that we address God, like in our life. So it's like he has like 4 different. He's like life over God, life under God, life for God, life with God.
Okay.
I had a feeling he was bald. See,
Oh yeah, he's your brother from another mother.
there it is, man.
Now here's the quintessential church thing from the mid
With the wood
2000
paneling
teens
behind
with
you,
the
yeah.
different yeah.
Shout out to Skye. I mean, we're not okay.
Yeah.
We're laughing a little bit, but it's a great book.
Yeah. Hey, listen, he even rocked the goatee.
That goatee is impressive.
That is
That is
yeah.
like full on
Yeah.
Benedict Cumberbatch
Yeah.
as Doctor Strange in the Marvels.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
So I don't know. But look at here. There he is. The only picture he has, well, he's sitting in front of one there. That's okay. But he
Right.
has a head-worn microphone on.
yeah.
And that-
So he's not a hand mic user.
No, and not just any microphone. That's a DPA.
That's a DPA like we have it at our church.
No,
Okay.
we use the countryman, but it's
Oh, we have a countryman? I thought we had a DPA.
It's the poor man's. We had one, but they had a whole series where some of the elements started getting some handling noise,
Oh, okay.
and you could just touch the back of that microphone
Yeah.
on where it goes around the head, and
Yeah.
it would so something. It was bad. So that one is no longer
I
on
thought
Earth.
you got us another DPA when we replaced that one.
I was gonna, but
Went with
we rock
countryman.
the E6, and they're a little bit more sacrificial at their price point than
Yeah.
than the 4066.
Cool.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, no, it's fine.
Yeah, okay.
I got you off track. So the book With.
Yeah.
So Skye's his his sort of overall point is it's best to live God or live life with God. It goes going all the way back to the garden.
It's a lot easier.
If he just wants to be with us.
Yeah.
Like he wants to be with us, we want to be with him. And so
Well, we wanted to be him.
Well, that was the problem. Yeah, that was the problem. But like I think there's a part
we wanted
of us,
to arrive.
I think there's a part of us that's fulfilled, and that's what I'm going to get to here. Is this, that really feels fulfilled when we're just kind of in the presence of the Father.
Okay.
While the Father is about His work.
Yeah.
Like, and the story, I'm gonna tell this story. So my dad was a barber.
Yep.
Finally retired, I think like 3 years ago, but he cut hair he learned to cut hair in Vietnam.
Oh.
So that's where he first started cutting hair, and then when he came back to the States, I don't know the whole detailed story. Went to barber school, got his license, started cutting hair, opened a shop.
It is a recession-proof career.
Yeah, we did not have a lot growing up, but we always had enough. Yeah,
but because someone's always going to need their haircut.
Yeah,
it's like the funeral business.
And to my dad's credit, he didn't take advantage of the aspects of the business that a lot of his customers told him. Like, I remember stories of
the cash side.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He paid his taxes. He did everything on the above board, which means that he paid a lot of taxes relative to the amount of money that he was making, which anyways. But so my dad always had the barbershop growing up. It was just kind of a part, like we'd answer the phone, whenever the phone rang, he'd forward his calls to the house when he left the shop. So 5 o'clock shadow, this is Jimmy. You know, that was the name of the barbershop. And, you know, it was by appointment only. You'd call, make your appointment, come in, men's only salon.
So now is he barber,
barber, not a stylist.
Because that's different than stylist, because they allow you to use the blade.
Yeah, so he had a straight razor with hot shaving cream.
Yeah. Ooh, that is magical.
He used, I know this, he used Ginger shears.
Ooh.
And he'd do beard trims and stuff like that. Okay. So single chair shop. With a waiting room. It's so funny because right as he was getting ready to retire, which it took him a while because it's hard to save up retirement when you're a sole proprietorship, you know.
And seeing life beyond what you've done for the last 40 whatever years.
Right, you know, it took him a while to like get retired, but as he was starting to look down the road to retirement, that whole paradigm of old school barbershop, which is what my dad has always had, was like becoming the new thing. You know? There's
a guy that I graduated with that's real cutting edge. And
except for it's going to be like California, a dude in like tight jeans and like, you know, it's like cutting your hair. It's with tats.
With the black gloves.
Yeah, and like.
Oh, I'm part of the brotherhood, Jimmy.
Yeah, I see that.
I got this.
So, yeah you are. But my dad just was always, that's what his shop was. Like, he literally had a cash drawer. I remember this, had a drawer he'd pull out. There were nails nailed in the drawer, and there would be like 1s, 5s, 10s, and 20s leaning against the nails, and one end had the checks from he took checks. And and so anyway, so I used to love, and it's funny, this image came to mind because I was like, this is like being with the Father while he's about his work is exactly like I felt when I would ride my bike. I'd get on my bike, I'd ride down Crater Lake Avenue, hang a ride on McAndrews, go down to the mall, or go downtown Medford. I'm from Medford, Oregon, right? Go downtown Medford, go to the hobby shop. There was a period of time where I was skateboarding. I go to the skate shop.
There you go.
But my dad's shop was on McAndrews, on that road. And so a lot of times on my way back, I'd stop in, and he was always happy to see me. I remember you'd open that door, you would smell shaving cream and aftershave.
Yep.
A lot of times my dad was, when he was behind the chair, he's like, he had an energy. People loved it. He was kind of a goofball, very good at his craft.
Right.
But like got written up in the local paper, actually an editorial. Right at the end of the editorial, this guy, I can't remember what the editorial was. He had it hanging on the wall in the shop. But right at the end, he could do a standing backflip. So he would...
Like father, like son?
No.
Come on.
No.
Okay.
And he...
That's awesome.
Someone dared him one day, and this editor was there. He
Right.
he used to cut the mayor's hair. He cut, barbers are really well connected when they're in a town for a long time. And this guy was like, bet him or something that he couldn't do it. So he did it. And then the guy wrote him up in the Mail Tribune. The Medford Mail Tribune was like, and the last line of the editorial is like, "Can your barber do that?"
Nice.
Question mark.
Nice.
Like, yeah.
Nice. That's
So,
cool.
But
That's cool.
I just,
Do you have any pictures of him working?
Actually, I do in the shop over there. Not in the back of the day, but we have pictures of him cutting the boys' hair.
Well, we need to throw some up when we're talking about this.
Yeah. So I used to love, and I'll just read this. I loved going in, seeing him up to his crazy Dave the Barber antics with his customers. I remember the smell of the aftershave, the distinct click of his clippers. I don't know if you've ever, like the old Oster, that like click.
Yeah.
I remember that,
It needed a clutch.
Yeah, it's like, that's what it sounded like. It's like a gearbox engaging.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah.
And then the trim,
It's
the
high torque,
little
baby.
clip of his shears. Cause it's like, men, the tongs.
The tongs.
Click, click, click. He did the same thing with the shears.
They don't work.
Click,
If you don't clack them.
You
We have our little clacker here.
Yeah.
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 Yep.
So,
Of course, she only did it once, so maybe it's not going to work.
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's just like that kind of stuff. I remember going to see Guy C. Davis, cutlery guy. That's where he got his shears sharpened.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
For what it's worth, shears are not scissors.
No, dear God.
They're probably thinking in their head, shears? Like,
Yes.
Shears are the things that you might call a scissor. It's not.
Yeah. And while we're at it, if you're on a boat, it's not rope, it's line.
Oh, that's probably what I've messed up on. Sorry. Anyways.
Hand me that rope. Yeah, it's a ski rope.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, okay.
It's a docking,
All right.
docking lines.
So, the picture that I had in my head though was the realization that I do that God desires the same from us. Like when I would open that door and my dad would see me, my dad was standing behind a barber chair for 10 hours a day. When he would come home, he would just be exhausted.
Well, sure.
Back problems, foot problems, hip problems.
They didn't have them
problems.
squishy mats and all that stuff.
It just like the way, if you watched him, I remember the image in my head of him like doing this kind of thing behind someone as he's cutting. It's like so bad for your back. Yeah. So he would just be spent when he got home.
Yeah.
And not super emotionally accessible. A lot of times the only
he's in super pain.
Right. A lot of times the only time that I had like a better emotional access to my dad was when he was at work.
Yeah.
Like I would open the door, he'd be in his Dave the Barber mode.
Yeah.
Jimmy's son, hey, Joe in the chair, that's my son, like that kind of thing would, and you would just feel welcomed.
Yep. Yeah.
And I didn't think about how that equated to the way that we addressed God until just like when I texted you this.
Okay. Yeah.
I was having this image of
I drew the correlations between going to my dad's office.
When you talk about your dad's office, that's where I go. I was like, it's probably was similar.
It's a total vibe.
Yeah.
And my granddad had a shop where he fixed band instruments.
Yeah.
So, and it's a little bit more. I mean, you could smell like the glues.
Yeah.
And then some of the compounds that he used to polish.
Yeah.
And when he would smoke that glue when he would use it for like pads for like clarinets or whatnot, and he'd use the little torch to get it hot, but it'd smoke off a little bit, he's using the glue. Yeah. Signature stuff.
Yeah.
And sounds,
And it's like in there.
Yeah.
It's like in there.
I can hear the striker. Shinka, shinka, shinka.
Yeah. Yep.
To light the torch.
Yeah. All the sounds and
Yeah.
I
or his regular lighter.
The sound of the barber chair going up and down. Like
he had electric?
Yeah, he had electric. Oh yeah.
No,
had the pedals.
So now
I used to sit there and I'd sit there and like you could spin it around so you could get access to the pedals while you were in it.
Nice.
And
Of course. Well, the barber shop I went to, they had the hydraulic thing. I gave that old cylinder a workout, but they'd sit there and pump.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just what I realized.
Great picture, man.
Is that's how God wants us to be with Him.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's about His work in the universe, right? He's doing His thing.
Yep.
And He welcomes us like we open the door of entering His presence while He's about His work. And He's just like, Jimmy,
right.
I'm over here. Like, check out this new star I made.
Yep. I totally get that, but even as a dad, and I have a variety of things. I want my kids to see whatever project I'm working on. If I'm grilling, I want them to be out there with that. If I'm working on the boat, I want them to enjoy the things that I enjoy, the things that make me feel like me.
Right. And I think we need to remember that. I will say there are times, I think, as dads that if we're upset with something and it's not going well, we're just like, oh, leave me alone, Right. And there were times where I walked into the shop and he was behind. Yeah. Because maybe
stressed out.
He had a because he did 30-minute appointments.
Yeah. Someone shows up late,
or he just didn't believe in giving a bad product. So a new customer, because this is how well he did his craft.
Yeah.
He knew if a customer had a particularly challenging head of hair, lots of cowlicks or whatever, he would give them extra time in the appointment book.
Okay.
But if he had a new customer come in, didn't know, he'd put him behind. And so I would come in completely different atmosphere. It's not the welcoming, it's the, hey, Jimmy, good to see you. I love you, son. I don't really have time to talk today. Like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which God honestly never is like for us, which is awesome.
Right.
But we as fathers can be that way sometimes.
Sure. Yeah, that's the human element, coming in there. But the heart still is.
For sure.
Because if you're going to acknowledge it or even whatever, it's like.
And he was always so apologetic. He was like, I can't.
Yep.
So,
my dad was, on that order a lot. And of course, I don't want to say that he didn't believe in HIPAA, but, he'd be in the. He was a dentist, right? So he's not supposed to tell me, who's there.
Right.
But he was he'd introduce me or whatnot. Yeah. But most of his patients, they were lifelong deals. So they're like, oh, I watched you grow up, because we had pictures that changed every 2 or 3 years on the wall. But that's what you talk about, because dentists, famous, well, they're or I say famous, they're notorious for, you got tools going everywhere, and the dentist.
Hey, this is my son Ben.
Yeah,
yeah. That's awesome.
So,
I just to kind of just bring it all in from kind of the story side of things. We address God more like what we do with our dads when we're in trouble or we need help. And I especially think of like my kids when they're young and they're just like, Dad, can you please come in here? Please come in here. Please come in here. I need help with this. I need help with this thing. Yep. And that, that's like, I think we should be there for our kids to help them. But the ideal, I think, for the father is just join me.
Yeah.
Just be in my presence. Stop just leaving me out here and then coming to me when you need me. I just want to be with you. Does that make sense? Oh.
So I want to, just for people that are listening, because you and I, had, similar good relationships with our dads, overall and whatnot. So, sorry, my wife's texting me again. I want to make
that's
sure.
Cool. And I do want to be. That's true. And to be honest,
she knows I'm recording.
My dad and I's relationship is not perfect. Was never perfect. Oh. But it's easy to throw the baby out with the bathwater in that regard. To be like, well, to not think about all these great things. There's multifaceted to that relationship. But you're right. There are people who just, they don't even have that. Yeah.
Yeah. So here's something that, that I want to just say, listen, so if you're a kid, child, of a parent that was not available.
Yeah.
I can't speak to why they weren't available, or if there was a legitimate reason or what. But what I can assure you is, if your dad was not available to you, that is not, hear me, that is not by design. That is not
Amen.
how the
Amen.
Lord wants us to relate to Him. It's just not. In a perfect setting, in an ideal world, that warmth, that exchange, what you're hearing Jimmy describe, with his dad, that's how we would relate to, everyone would be able to
Right.
get to relate to their dad. So while our earthly fathers, while none of them are perfect and some of them are just absolute losers, and you may be listening to this and go, yeah, that's my dad. Yes, your dad may be, but your heavenly Father absolutely wants you to sit with Him, to come to Him, and just to hang out and enjoy His presence, and not just come to Him when something's going wrong, not just come to Him when you need something, or on Sundays, at church. There's a relationship aspect. So if you didn't have that with your dad, greater minds than I have said it this way, that we will relate to our Father, to the Lord, the way that we interacted with our earthly father.
Yep.
And man, is that true?
Yeah, and I mean, that includes all the good parts and the bad parts. The bad parts of my relationship with my dad and his imperfections have affected the way I relate to God.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But
same for my kids.
So that's if you are a kid. Excuse me. If you are a regular dad listening to this and you're unapproachable, okay, and you're emotionally distant from your kids, listen to me, hear me, get your shit together.
Yeah.
And figure it out.
Please.
Okay?
Please.
Because you aren't just affecting your kids, it's who your kids come in contact with. You're affecting how they are going to parent, how they're going to raise their own kids.
Yeah.
You literally are having, if you're conducting yourself poorly, you are having a negative impact on generations.
Yep.
And you could, a negative impact, you could just as easily be having a positive impact. So figure it out, whatever you need to go back and work on. Therapy, undoing your issues with your dad, whatever it is, figure it out, get it right, and start doing it right with your kids. Period. Well, my dad didn't. It doesn't matter. That's done. That ship has sailed. You can't put the poop back in the cow. Get a shovel, get rid of it, and move forward. But make sure that you are available now more than ever. Parents need to be emotionally available to their kids.
Yep.
It is hard out there. I sit on a local school board, and I will tell you, it is a lot harder to be a student in today's public education system than it was when we were in school.
So many aspects of it being so much harder today. It's so, and it's like,
it's awful.
It's like
social media didn't exist.
It's like the joke is, well, it was harder in my, this stuff.
Yeah.
If I had to deal with this stuff when I was the age of my kids, I think I've said this before, I'm not sure I would have made it out alive.
Yeah.
Like the kind of bullying that can happen with these things.
Yeah.
Like, dude.
Yeah. For our kids to survive the public school environment today, they are way stronger and tougher for their age than you and I ever thought about being.
Yeah. And what you said about being emotionally available. And this is coming from two guys who have not done a good job.
Oh, yeah. No. This isn't do it my way.
No.
Because I've been, no.
It's only been, I would say, for me, 3 or 4 months.
Right. It's part of that continual improvement thing.
Since a pretty significant course change.
Yeah. My kids could relate to me as long as the moon and the stars aligned and everything was perfect and there's the right amount of money in the bank and their jobs weren't too stressful. Then we can have, other than that, it was mad dad.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
also help your marriage too. So
yeah. Side bonus.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Well, what else you got, Jimmy?
That's it.
Now that we've...
That was really good. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good summary. Good call. Yeah. So
Yes. Yes.
I'm good.
All right. Well, cool deal. We'll figure out what roads we're going to travel. I'll be gone for a little while. So this stuff will come out. What is this?
This is going into August.
Yeah,
now.
August.
Well into
Okay.
August, possibly
Yeah,
into
yeah.
September.
We
We've
did
got enough
kind of
material.
back to back.
Yeah.
Filming pretty quick
Yeah,
here to,
you know,
to make room.
it's
So-
no secret that we film these multiple.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, rock and roll. And
right.
yeah, thank you so much for joining us, taking time to just a little listen to a little bit of what we have to say. We hope that it helps you. If it's encouraged you, email contact at the regular dad. Let us know. If you're mad about something, email Jimmy at theregulardad.com. And
It's an actual email address.
You can express those frustrations to him.
JIMMY.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, y'all take care. We'll see you here next time on the Regular Dad.
Shouldn't have